Hello, what's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the new Lightroom update, about the new masking tool. So let's have a look at it, check it out, and let's edit some photos. Right, so when you get onto Lightroom, you see this little area over here. It's got a little masking section. So you click on that and it says add new mask. You've got select subject, select sky, you've got the brush tool, you've got your linear gradient, your radial gradient, color range, luminous range, and the depth range. But the things that I want to focus in on today of the new update is these top two things here, the select subject and the select sky. So let's start off by selecting the subject. So what you do, once you click the subject, as you can see, Lightroom detects the subject and it just automatically masks of what you want to edit. And then to get rid of the red, you press O, command, shortcut. And then here on your right, these are all the sliders that can affect the subject itself. So look, if I up the exposure, only the subject mask is being affected. All of the rest isn't. So if we want to edit this photo, let me get rid of that. So if I want to up the contrast a bit, maybe lower a bit of the highlights to get some of that detail back on his chest. Maybe up the shadows a little bit, so we can see the bird fully. Not too much though. I think maybe up the whites. No, lower the whites. Maybe lower the blacks a little bit. And then if I zoom in a little bit here, you can either add clarity or lower the clarity. Sometimes I like lowering the clarity. I don't like upping it too much. I'm just going to lower it back to a -8. Add a little bit of texture, just 10. And then I think I'm going to maybe add a tiny bit of dehaze. And then I like adding a little bit of saturation as well. And then you can do all your sharpness and everything in this section here. Got before and after. I'm happy with that change. So now, to add another mask, you see there's a little section here. This is to add a new mask. So you click add mask, and then what I do is I select the subject again. So it detects the subject, but then you click invert. So once you click invert, it's all the background. And now it's everything apart from the subject. So all the background, so all the changes you do here now will affect the background and not the subject itself. And it automatically detects this. You didn't have to paint over it, you didn't have to add loads of different gradients. It's automatically doing it in a new masking tool. So then I like to really make the subject pop. So what I would like to do now, I would like to lower the shadows a little bit, maybe lower the whites, lower the blacks, or up the whites and then maybe lower the blacks a bit more to get a bit of that contrast in. Lower the highlights, add a bit of contrast, lower the clarity and the texture, leave the dehaze for now, and then I want a little bit of saturation to give a bit more colour to the image. But at the minute, that's before and after. I'm liking my changes that I've made so far. And this really does make it a lot easier to edit your photos if you want to only edit a certain subject, or if you want to edit the background only and not affect the subject at all. You don't have to get the brush out and brush it all in. It's literally just one button now and it automatically detects the subject so you can edit it. Some people like that change, some people don't. I remember I watched a video from Peter McKinnon and he wasn't over keen on it. But I think it's quite cool. I just feel like it gives a new, completely different way of editing into your workflow now when you do edit your photos. So then, obviously that's the new. I've not touched any of these other sliders at all at the minute. I can give it more vibrance or anything, add a bit more vibrance to it. A teeny bit of saturation. I've not touched any of the tone curves at all. And then sometimes I like to go down here anyway and add a bit of, like a little, some to the highlights. I like adding a bit of red to the highlights sometimes, and then maybe some blues or greens to the shadows, and then maybe play around with the calibration a bit. And yeah, so that's before and now that's after, and that was mainly only using the new masking tool. I've not touched any of the other things, and I'm happy with that photo. I think it looks really good. The colours are real vibrant as well. The subject stands out from the background. So let's move on to the other masking tool, and that's the select the sky. So let's go over to one of my landscapes. Now this is one of the photos that I've taken with my drone, the DJI Mini 2. If you want to watch my full review on that, the link is in the description below. It's such an amazing drone, and I've got so many amazing photos of it. Now this one was in the peak sunsets of Woolacombe in Devon, and now let's try and use this new masking tool and select the sky and see what we can do with it. First, actually, what I would like to do is add the shadows to get that detail back down here, and maybe just up the exposure a little bit. Now let's click on the masking tool and select the sky. Now detecting the sky, and it's only got the sky, so you don't need your gradient anymore. All you have to do is press that one button and it detects this whole sky for you. So this is when we can play around. If I like lowering the highlights to bring some of that colour back of the sunset. I like maybe adding a bit of white. Lower the blacks a little bit. Lower the shadows. Make that sky pop, give it some contrast. Add a bit of dehaze, not too much, because if you go too much, look, this one it gets a bit mad. Add a little bit of dehaze. Add some clarity and texture, and add a bit of that saturation to really make that sunset pop. Now look at the detail in that sky from before and after, and there's so many more things you can play around with. If I wanted to up the shadows a bit more, actually, lower the blacks, add the whites up a little bit. That's a bit too much, actually. I don't think there's going to be any detail. Lower the whites, and then if we do the same again, click select sky, and then invert. It's everything apart from the sky, so now you've got all the bottom area to edit with, and it won't affect the sky at all. Let's click O. Let's up them shadows all the way. Add some white to it. Lower the blacks a little. Up the blacks. Add some clarity and texture. Add some saturation. I want to make this image pop a bit. Give it some contrast. Maybe give it a bit of a warmer look. And now that's just using the... Well, that's all using the new masking tool from the select sky this time, from before and after. And then I like to come down here and play around, maybe add a bit more vibrance. Let's go down to the color tools, select my greens. Give that more of a saturation look. My oranges. Add a bit more orange into that. Add some warmth to the shadows. So let's add a bit of blue to the shadows. And there we go. I'm quite happy with that photo. Let's go on my blues a little bit and lower that saturation down just a tad, so it's not too bluey in the sky. Add that luminance up a little bit, I think. There we go, and I'm happy with that as well. Alright then guys, so that was the new Lightroom update. If you did enjoy and you did find it helpful, leave a like and leave a comment below if you've used it before, if you're going to plan on using it in the future when you edit your photos. But thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy and you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button for more future videos, and I guess I'll see you guys on the next video. I'll see you later.